Today we're going to be marking an object. We're going to be marking this piece of glass, which is a fairly straightforward thing to mark because it's inert to the different solvents that we use, and it's also very straightforward to clean. So first of all, I'm just going to give the area that I'm going to mark a little clean with some water and a swab that I've just made with some cotton wool and a skewer. So that's just to make sure that any dirt has been removed before we put any solvent on the surface, because we don't want anything to be trapped underneath. With other objects we might need to use a solvent like acetone to clean the surface, but with glass, generally water, it's probably fine. Our next step is to apply a layer of Paraloid B72 in acetone. It's a 20% solution, and the acetone is there to make the solvent, which is basically a sort of glue, runny, so you can spread it onto the surface, and then eventually the acetone evaporates, leaving just the coating. But what's really important about this is that it is reversible, so if you need to take it off with a solvent, you can. So I'm going to apply this with a brush now, and it's going to be a nice, smooth, even layer. Just going to remove the excess, and then the area that I've cleaned, just going to apply some of the solvent, and making sure that I leave enough space so that I can write the number on as well. So you do need to know the number before you apply this so that you know how much space you need to leave. And we're just going to leave that to dry. That won't take very long, and it's important to clean your brush afterwards using acetone so that it doesn't become very, very stiff like this one. So when we're marking an object in this sort of manner, we need to decide whether we're going to use a black ink or a white ink. Sometimes it's really obvious because the object might not show the black ink. Sometimes you might want to check with the curator because they'll have a better understanding of how they might want to display the object. In the case of glass, especially clear glass like this that is uncoloured, we usually go with white because it shows up less but it's still quite clear. So I'm going to mark that now. I have the number here provided by the curator. So the number is AA.2020.001.6. You can use a brush. We also have pens. I prefer to use a skewer because I feel like it gives me a bit more control in painting the numbers on. But it's good to just have a practice and see which tool works best for you. Obviously, if you're using a skewer, you need to make sure that it's slightly blunted as well, so that it doesn't write into the coating underneath. So yes, you need to apply the number neatly on the area that you've coated with the Paraloid and acetone solution, and write as small and neatly as you can. Sometimes it's easier to take a pointillist approach because then you can control it a little bit better, the size of what you're writing. And you want it to be in an unobtrusive part of the object, and yet somewhere that you can find the number fairly easily as well. Okay. Then just complete writing the number. Remember to take your time. There you have it. And then you allow that to dry as thoroughly as you can. And after that, we then add a layer of Paraloid B67 in white spirit. Again, it's a 20% solution. This is used instead of the acetone solution because the acetone just takes the ink straight off. But this isn't used as the bottom coat because it can yellow a little bit over time. So that's why this is generally used as the top coat, not the bottom coat. And that's why we have the two different coats. And this does tend to take quite a lot longer to dry than the Paraloid B72 in acetone.